Welcome to your virtual winter open house for the year of 2022 and the psychology session. This actually has a very special place in my little psychology brain because I was actually a cultural studies and psychology grad. So this actually kind of brings me back to my first year and also a couple of my upper year courses when I was doing a couple labs here and there. So I'm very excited to kind of share all of this information with you folks. Joined with me today is an all-star panel of faculty and students. I'm joined by Professor Jenny Easterbrook. She is the assistant professor at the Durham campus for psychology. I'm also joined by Professor Laura Sommerfeld, who is a current professor for psychology at the Peterborough campus, along with the associate chair for the undergraduate department of psychology. I'm also joined with Justin Lyons, who is a current third-year psychology student, and Heidi Perek, who is a fourth-year psychology student. Now, this session is going to be pretty straightforward. We're going to go through a bit of a kind of scheduled Q&A. We have some questions loaded up here that's going to give you a little bit more information about the program, what to expect, and what else can be associated with it as well. And then we're also going to hear a little bit of that student perspective, right? It's kind of that personalized touch, I guess, things that they may have encountered, things that they also really enjoyed about the program that you're learning about today. And then we'll also take a look at our Q&A through the live chat as well. Now, if you are typing in your questions, maybe halfway through, maybe at the beginning, or maybe at the end, we will try our best to answer all of those questions. If we do not have time to answer said questions, not to fret, because we will also be including contact information later on in this session. So without further ado, I guess we'll get started. And well, Laura, congratulations, you're in the hot seat. So if you could, for the folks joining us today, do you mind giving us a brief overview of the psychology program, including what degrees are offered, joint degrees, and also specializations?
Sure, it's my pleasure. So welcome everybody. It's just lovely to see everybody coming out on Saturday to hear about psychology, which really is the best program to be in, I think. Psychology is huge and diverse. So in a nutshell, it's the study of behavior and the mind. It's a science and it's also a practice, as many of you know. What many of you probably haven't realized is how diverse and broad it is. It covers huge ground. And one lovely thing is, even though Trent is a small university relative to many others and our department is small, the diversity of courses that we offer covers all of those breadths of areas in the same way that larger universities do. So in a nutshell, psychology spans sort of three big areas, the content courses that students would encounter: health, development, and neuroscience. So in the health area, that would include things like abnormal psychology and health psychology, environmental psychology, social psychology. In the development area, we have child, adolescent development, aging, family development. And in neurosciences, that includes things like sensation, perception, brain and behavior, memory, learning. So there's all these wonderful, diverse, rich courses that can be taken. And to give you an idea of how many courses we offer, we have 33 courses on the books just at second and third year, spanning those big areas, with the larger sort of umbrellas of social science oriented courses and natural science oriented courses. Students can do either a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science degree with us. They can also do an ordinary and honors degree. And within the honors degree, they can choose whether to do a course-based honors or a thesis-based honors. So there's lots of opportunities. With regard to specializations, we have two specializations, one in human development and one in health and behavior. So those are coursework streams that the student can elect to go into once they're in the program and they're completing their degree. Many ways to customize the program and make it unique to you. One last thing, we've got lots of students doing joint majors. Jonathan can speak to that for sure. The most common joint majors for us are psychology, biology, psychology, forensics, and increasingly so psychology and environmental resource science. So we've got lots of ways students can customize things. So I'm going to stop there because it'll probably come up in our next discussion too.
Absolutely. Again, with all these pathways, I feel like we can talk about this forever. But I do want to bring up my follow-up question because it kind of ties into everything that you've just introduced in regards to all of these different ways to approach and study psychology. Do you mind just giving us a little bit more information as the type of courses and labs that students can expect to take in their first years, and again, how that changes as a student progresses through their program?
Okay, I certainly can. Our program is really carefully designed to scaffold the students' knowledge and competencies and abilities. So at first year, we start with our big intro courses that cover the social science orientation and the natural science orientation. These are one of the most popular, huge, big survey courses at the university, and often when students choose their major to go into psychology. But once you're into psychology as a major, all these next year courses start opening up. So at second year, we zoom in at an introductory level on all those little specialization areas. So for example, we have intro to social psychology, intro to abnormal psychology, theories of human development. At second year, students also get to do the first step of the research design and statistics courses. This is where our introductory stats courses get offered. And then onwards and upwards they go to third year, where we get even more precise about those areas, those domains. We zoom in closer on them, especially on the research that gets done in them. So we have things like advanced abnormal psychology and many of the advanced neurosciences programs. And this again is where our advanced research design and methods courses kick in, advanced stats and research design. Now, while all these coursework options are being offered, it's really important to note that there are small group learning opportunities in all of these courses. So we have tutorials, we have labs, and students can also customize their program by doing reading courses or practica where they work directly with faculty. And Jenny's going to be speaking more about, Professor Easterbrook's going to be speaking more about this in a minute. At fourth year, this is when things get very specialized. So students either have small interactive seminars, and those seminars, to give you an idea, have 25 people in them. So I'm teaching one right now on advanced seminar in psychopathology. This is also where we find our big capstone courses like the honors thesis, as well as the integrative courses like history of psychology or qualitative methods. So it's very much scaffolded, and to help students navigate their way through these directions, we also have a dedicated undergraduate course coordinator. Her name is Ms. Lindsay Thackeray, who's there to counsel students about the map that they want to take to get them where they want to be at the end. So I can stop there. I think that covers it.
No, thank you. That covered a lot, actually. No, thank you so much. I'm actually going to shift the mic over to Professor Easterbrook, which is good because a question that we just got in the chat perfectly encapsulates the next question I have for you. So right now, right, on top of finding that degree, right, finding that program that's right for you, students more and more are getting more invested into how they can get the most out of their program, right? How can they learn outside of the classroom? And hands-on career boosting experience is very important to students from all over, no matter the program. So I just wanted to take some time and ask you if there are labs or experiential learning opportunities within psychology.
Yeah, of course. So before I get started, I also just wanted to welcome everybody to our virtual session. It's so nice to see so many names on the screen. Hopefully very soon we'll be able to see all of you face to face, but for now this is still very wonderful. So yeah, I can definitely speak to that. I first I wanted to start off by talking about the fact that I think Trent actually offers a really significant advantage to our students for these types of opportunities. Both the Peterborough campus as well as the Durham campus, I work on the Durham campus. Trent is known to be a smaller university. And because of that, we have smaller, class sizes. And that really offers the opportunity for you as students to get to know your professors. I have to say one of my favorite parts or aspects of this job is really getting to interact one-on-one with my students and getting to know my students. So, my key piece of advice for you is to just get to know us, right? We're not scary. I love chatting with my students. So, in your first and second year of the program, I did see someone ask, a question about specific co-op opportunities. What I would really recommend is just get to know us, right? Come introduce yourselves, ask us about our research opportunities, tell us about yourself, tell us, what you're interested in. All of the professors in the psychology department, we all research something different, and we all have programs of research. So we're always looking for students to help us with our research activities. So I would say, even as early as your second year, ask us about volunteer opportunities. Getting into a lab and volunteering as soon as you can really lay the foundation for some of that hands-on experiential opportunities as you make your way through the program. So again, first, second year, reach out, get to know us, ask about volunteer opportunities. Once you get into your third and fourth year, then we have some more specific courses that really offer you that hands-on experiential learning opportunities. So Professor Sommerfeld had mentioned research practicums. Those are courses that you can take again in third year and your fourth year. And it's not like going into the classroom and sitting in a lecture. You are working one-on-one with a professor to pursue research opportunities. And those research practicum courses are going to look different depending on the supervisor or the professor that you're working with. So, you really want to take the opportunity to try to, find somebody that is doing research in something that, you're really passionate about. Just very quickly, a couple examples of what research practicums might look like. I was talking with a student just recently. This wasn't my practicum, but she was working with a professor from the Peterborough campus, and they were developing an exercise program for older individuals who have Parkinson's disease. So she was able to kind of go out into the community and help to develop an exercise program. My own research, I'm collaborating with an addiction treatment center in Toronto for adolescents. So oftentimes, when I have practicum students, we're working very closely with the addiction treatment center. We're looking at some of their data to try to figure out, what works, what doesn't work. So there's really, pretty cool opportunities for students. So those are research practicum courses. Two other things that I'll mention as quickly as I can. Once you get into your fourth year, if you are thinking about going on to graduate school, considering a honors thesis is a really, really excellent opportunity. So an honors thesis is another course. It's a double credit course that you would again do one-on-one with a professor. And this, of course, is also going to be dependent on the professor that you're working with, because there's lots of opportunity for different areas of research. You will, with the professor, you will work on, kind of developing some research questions. What do we need to know? How are we going to study this? How are we going to collect data? Who will our participants be? You're going to analyze the data, interpret it. And while that may seem a little bit, daunting at first, remember, you're working with a professor, right? And that's why we're here. That's our job to mentor you and to help you with this research progress. So that's another really excellent opportunity. And then the last one that I just want to mention, because it's specific to the Durham campus, we have a Living Labs course. This is a course that you could do in your fourth year. Part of the time is spent in the classroom, and then the other part of your time is actually at Ontario Shores Center for Mental Health Sciences. And if you're in the Durham region, you may be familiar with Ontario Shores. The course right now is specific to aging and some of the chronic conditions associated with aging, so things like dementia. So again, you kind of are able to apply what you're learning in the classroom at Ontario Shores. You're actually working with the population of interest. So it's a really, really great opportunity to kind of gain some community connections as well. So that is kind of everything that I wanted to touch on, but Professor Sommerfeld may have something else to offer, and we can, of course, address any questions that you might have.
Yeah, just to reiterate what Prof. Easterbrook was talking about, there are opportunities at all levels. Aside from the interactive stuff that happens in classes, the small group learning, the opportunity to interact with faculty. I teach students at second, third, and fourth year, and it's so much fun to be at a place where we know students' first names. I recognize them and wave to them when they're at convocation because I recognize these people who've grown through these years. Just to reiterate the amount of intensive experiential learning that happens on average over the last 5 years between the practica and the thesis course, we offer at least 90 students a year with research-based training opportunities like this for credit. So just to give you an idea of the size of the offering. And much of that is community-based research, hand in hand with a faculty member.
I did not know it was as high as 90. That's amazing. My goodness. You have to do more research then. Usually when I'm on the road, usually when I'm working, I have 3 top questions. Okay, the first one, right? Hands-on experience. What can I get out of my degree? Number 2, which residence is the best? And 3, what do I need to get in? What are the admission requirements? So Laura, since I do have you on the screen, if you wouldn't mind just touching upon some of those admission requirements and what that looks like at Trent.
So the admission requirements for our department are the same as the general admission requirements for the university. We do not have any department specific admission requirements. So it's the same ones as overall. What is it? A minimum of 6 grade 12 4U or 4M courses. The advanced function course is recommended, but it is not necessary to get in. So even though students can do a sciences degree, once you declare the major of psychology, students in the sciences have to take university level maths courses as part of their degree. But in psychology, if you decide to do a sciences degree, a Bachelor of Science, our stats courses at second year fulfill that math requirement. So if I would make a recommendation, if anyone's thinking about courses, one that would give you an advantage would be the grade 12 math data management course. Definitely, if you're really thinking of psychology as a major. Other than that, there are no program specific requirements. It's the 70 average and the 60 in fourth year grade 12 English, just as the university one is.
Awesome. And thank you for that tidbit on data management. That's really good. Professor Easterbrook also put in the chat that we'll be talking about job opportunities momentarily, which is good because I am going to rope her back into the spotlight and just, again, talk a little bit about those job opportunities and jobs that students are seen getting into upon graduation. I talked about the top 3 questions. I did not include this one because everywhere I go, it gets kind of brought up. So if you wouldn't mind just talking about, again, some of the work that students are doing or some of the work that you see students getting into.
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, if we think about what psychology is from a broad perspective, it's really, the study of human behavior, the brain, the mind. We really want to understand, why do people do the things that they do? And if you think about it that way, I mean, the connection between psychology and there's, the connection is very vast in terms of the potential career paths that you could take, your degree. Another thing that I will mention, during your 3 or 4 years at Trent, we're really providing you with a set of transferable skills that a lot of employers are really looking for nowadays. So even things like, problem solving skills, interpersonal relationships, critical thinking, writing skills, writing proposals, being able to organize information, data collection, data interpretation. So all of those type of kind of broad-based skills, they're really going to help you in any type of career that you may choose. Now, specific to psychology, again, there's so many things that I could mention. I'll mention a few that I've seen students go into and that I think it has a nice kind of logical connection to. Things like advertising and marketing. If you think about, psychology is a study of understanding human behavior. Advertising is about how can we influence people to make certain purchase decisions. And we talk about that some of that type of information in some of your courses. There's a really nice connection between psychology and human resources. So human resources is all about, hiring people, firing people, trying to resolve conflicts between employees. So you really have to have good interpersonal skills for that type of career. And again, those are all things that you're going to focus on in various ways throughout your time at Trent. We, of course, always have a lot of students who are interested in, counseling, a therapist, psychologist. Now, depending on the route you want to go, there may be, you may want to consider some graduate programs after your undergraduate degree. But of course, there's certainly a connection between psychology and counseling and therapy. A lot of our students go into social services work and social work. And jobs like that, they're all about helping people and helping individuals and their families. So things like, the Children's Aid Society, family services agencies. We have a lot of students that go on to work in various roles within the school boards. And then, of course, our program is a research-based program. I mean, psychology is a science. There are a ton of jobs out there, whether that is with government agencies, private agencies. People want people who can analyze data, understand the data, and write it in a way that other people can understand. So, there's a lot of research type jobs as well that I think you will be very well prepared for. So, there's so many others that I could mention. And if you do have specific questions, please let us know. But I really think a degree in psychology, it's an excellent preparation for a variety of career paths. And I think both, myself and Professor Sommerfeld have stressed this. You can really, take advantage of Trent and the opportunities that we provide to you. And, early on, try to tailor your degree to help you out with the career, right? Whatever it is you're interested in, there will be ways that you can tailor that degree through your courses and through the research opportunities that you can gain with that. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you so much, Professor. We're just going to switch gears a little bit and bring in some of our student voices here. I do have Justin and Heidi locked and loaded and ready to go. And again, we're at the kind of, I guess, the other side of the hill when we're talking about your degrees, right? You're in third year and fourth year respectively. And I think we'll start with Justin and then move over to Heidi. So if you just wouldn't mind giving a quick introduction, but also letting students know what your favorite part about Trent is, more specifically the psychology program.
Yeah, so I'm Justin. I'm a third year psychology student at the Durham campus, and I'm getting my bachelor's of science. So I took the science stream, and like everyone was saying, I really like the small class sizes and the opportunities to get to know people in your course and network that way, and also with your professors. And the variety of courses you can take as well is really good. And how they cross fields too, with biology and forensics and gender studies even. So yeah, it's a great, I'm glad that I chose Trent Durham for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, it sounds like there's a pretty large variety of, well, I guess selection, right? Just based on what you're speaking in regards to psychology just being applied to other areas.
Yeah, for sure. Biology and psych is kind of you say neuroscience and stuff like that. But I've been enjoying the gender studies crossings too, with psychology of gender. And then I want to take the feminist psychologies next year. So yeah, lots of opportunities.
Yeah, no, awesome. You got a pretty bright fourth year ahead of you. I look forward to hearing about it more. Heidi, same question, quick introduction, and again, why you chose Trent and the psychology program.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Heidi Perek, and I'm a fourth year psychology student at the Peterborough campus. If I was to label one thing that I love about Trent, and in specific psychology, It's really that depth and breadth that you're exposed to with the psychology courses offered. So Trent offers a very wide selection of courses, as previously mentioned. So cognitive psychology, abnormal psychology, developmental psychology, and onwards. And what this allows you to do is really explore your strengths as well as your interests and passions. And this is done in very intimate classrooms with professors who are very well established in their careers. Now, additionally, since these are small classes, you get more opportunities to develop, whether that's through oral communication, writing, or teamwork. And I think with all of it, it's really to promote your own career direction. And sometimes that career direction might be something you haven't even considered before.
No, absolutely. I really like that final point you made about just, again, being able to kind of take a step back and see the larger picture as you progress through your degree and all of these different doors opening up, right? It truly is something spectacular. But I just want to flip it back actually to Justin. Seeing as you have a couple of years under both of your belts respectively, I was hoping to get a little piece of advice for incoming students. So Justin, do you have maybe a nice kind of parting word as we kind of wind down this session, or pieces of advice for students that are maybe excited or maybe even nervous about this next chapter?
Yeah, well, it's definitely a transitional time, like going to university. And I think just like interacting with your professors and getting that extra help if you need it, and doing that early on is a good way to not only meet your professors, but also reach your academic goals. And like Heidi was saying, like just following your interests, because you really don't know where you'll end up. So as long as you're engaged and doing what you like, I mean, you'll probably end up doing something that you love. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
That's all you need to say, Justin. Thank you so much. Heidi, same question, piece of advice for incoming students.
Yeah, so your undergraduate is going to fly by. And for most of you, it's going to be the equivalent of your high school experience. So that is 4 very, very, very short years. So when I think of my best advice, it's really to get involved and to participate in your classes, volunteer opportunities like getting involved in that research, psychology committees, or even events hosted by the psychology department. And there's so many opportunities, and it might even seem overwhelming in a sense. However, you can alleviate the stress. So doing your research of what we offer through Trent websites or reaching out will really serve you guys well.
Awesome. Wow. Thank you so much, Justin and Heidi. That was really insightful. I'm going to cry now. Oh my gosh. And last but not least, right, if students want to get in contact with us, if they have questions about the program, maybe some of the research that professors are doing, Professor Sommerfeld, how can they contact the department?
Well, the easiest way is to email psychology@trentu.ca. That'll go into our office, and then they can determine what would be the best direction for things to take. If students have very specific questions about prerequisites, for example, or if they're coming from other universities, the contact person in the psychology department is Lindsay Thackeray. Here she is. I'm going to put it in the chat.
Lindsay Thackeray.
There you go. Lindsay Thackeray. And she's the course curriculum wizard that helps students map things and figure out how things are going to get done within their program.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you.
Those are the first points of contact. But to tell you the truth, most faculty would be quite happy if they're able to find the time to do it, to even take calls from students that aren't yet registered if they have questions about their research areas. People really love to talk to students.
Absolutely. That's awesome. You hear that? Everyone listening, go reach out to these professors. They're waiting to talk to you. But that does bring us to the end of our session. So on behalf of myself and Trent University, Professor Sommerfeld, Professor Easterbrook, Justin, Heidi, thank you so much for being here, sharing your expertise, your knowledge, and also your experiences about the program that you have put so much time, dedication, and passion into. I also want to thank one of our students working behind the scenes, answering all of your questions and making sure that you, the third group that I want to thank, the guests for tuning in. Maybe, you rolled out of bed, it is, still noon, so who knows, and asking your questions, getting curious and excited about that next chapter in your life. This session will be recorded and will be put onto our website. So if you do want to revisit this, you absolutely can. But with that being said, I'm going to launch off right now. Thank you to each and every single one of you for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your open house, and remember, you are exactly where you need to be. Have a wonderful day, everybody.